I would like to procure the bag.
I wanna be a rich bitch. Penthouse doorman, money, 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 rich bitch. Hey, give me that bag. Rich bitch.
Yes, you're so rich.
Pay me.
I mean, girl, if you're not limping, you're chewing, girl. What is wrong with you? We're talking about my cat.
Your kitty.
My puss.
Your actual kitty.
Yeah, my actual.
Your animal pet kitty.
My gato. Yeah, my chunky calico gato is.
Love her. Love the Clear.
Oh my God, it's been so long. Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's been a whole
like
hour.
45 minutes, literally.
Yeah, I just spent the last 45 minutes on the floor with my foam roller, like rolling my back out.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew striking was so strenuous?
Who knew that the strike was strenuous and superfluous at the same time?
It is. We had such a good time.
We did. I mean, honestly, it was such a great time today. For those you don't know, I am one of the strike captains. And my position today was at 30 Rock, which is my first time being in that position.
And you did such a great job.
Thanks. I can't speak for me, but it felt good.
I can speak for you. You owned that bullhorn. That bullhorn was your little bitch.
Yeah. That's my girl right there.
We love.
It was so much fun. Oh, look, you're blurry, Tina.
I have mixed feelings about the blurred background.
Me too.
Thing.
But not today because my bed's not made. Oops, I said it out.
Whoops.
Yeah, no, I really think, and for those of you, because we won't have the visual medium for this one, but just know that I'm in a Florida, the head to toe ball gown, sequenced, cinched,
blown out,
face for the gods. So it's all good. See, you just don't even know. You're missing it all. Anyway, yeah, no, we both look pretty good actually, considering we've been outside all day.
Well, I got rain. I'm sure you did too, but I got rained on from the train home, and that was just I got home and I was like, I'm wet now. I'm hot. I'm dehydrated. I'm wet.
Yeah, I ate a Lara bar. That's literally all I've eaten today. I'm like drinking water like it's nobody's biz.
Literally. But I mean, what a star-studded event. Like we had such a good time. Right as I got there, I saw you and I turned to my right and I saw the Bowen Yang, which was so great of him to join because we were right outside of NBC Studios, which is of course where SNL happens. And I mean there were
Geraldo Rivera was there.
Geraldo Rivera leading the line with a little cane, like ricketying along. What a legend. And there were a lot of people that I don't know their names, but I recognize from
everything.
Yeah, it was really kind of a great like swath of representation across the board of people who are like definitely recognizable, and then like people that are like, I think I saw you in a show once. And then just like people like me who have ambiguity, but not a legend yet
in Times Square. No, but I mean it really was that. And honestly, this isn't my first rodeo. Finally, now I'm kind of
of course not.
I thought my first time being a captain was last week, our first day of striking, and now it's like such an honor to continue to do that. And today was a really cool start because when I got there, so many of my board members were there, but also Duncan Crabtree Ireland, our head negotiator. He was there. Yes, I adore him. I think he is fabulous, and he is my boo-boo. Sorry,
I was just gonna say that's like such another great level of representation that like is showing up to the lines. Like we had Duncan show up, then we had the representative from the French Union show up, and then we had that guy from like the Slovenia, Croatia show up. There's so much global representation on the line. And this is my first time doing anything like this. I've never striked before. I've never done any of the marches or whatnot because I'm kind of I'm sketched out in crowds for the most part, but this felt very controlled, very safe, very organized, and it was just very cool to experience that for the first time, like boots on the ground kind of thing, instead of just watching the highlight reel, if you will, on social media, and seeing the involvement of all of the people on your side of things, on like the actual like board members, and then also like union the people the union presence from the top, and then everyone else. It just felt so good, like there was good vibes happening.
Good vibes. Shout out to the staff too, because us strike captains are actors. We're still the actors. So it's so impressive to show up on site. And I'm earlier than anyone, except there's the staff already set up with tables, sign-in sheets, organized. organized. I mean, especially considering how many places we're at all at the same time in different coasts and different states. It's really amazing to be part of something that's so organized and so passionate. Everybody believes what we're doing is the right thing because it is the right thing. You know, and I got some really great interviews with some Korean newspapers and all sorts of really wonderful people today were giving me some great interviews. And it was just nice to be able to talk about, you know, what the main question was, why are you striking? And it's not that people don't know, but they want to hear from us why we are striking. And it's really the same thing across the board. It's that we are not being paid the right wage for our creativity. Everything is built upon our creativity. And I'm talking about the writers, the actors, performers. All the creativity is coming from us, yet we're seeing pennies on the dollar that these executives and those in the AMPTP are making millions and millions and millions and millions and millions off of, and we're not seeing it. So this is for the future, not just of labor, but of artists, of people across the globe. We had people from Europe there. The UK contingency was there in union form. We had nurses. The nurses union was with us. FedEx, a couple people were out there. So it's like, yeah, it was really just great. And it was just really cool.
Exactly. And also just like the response from people driving by, like how my favorite thing that I saw all day was, I don't want to presume that it was an Uber driver, but it was some driver of some kind in a black car driving past 30 Rock, and he was honking and he slowed down and he showed his SAG card out of the passenger side window as he kind of like slowly inched by. And I was like, oh, I wish I was fast enough to get a picture of that, because it was such a great moment throughout the day. But then you also had, like, of course, the trucks that were honking and making note of like the companies of the trucks that they were driving. Like Cintas was one of them, FedEx was one of them. Like they all were. It was such a great feeling of like what feels more like beyond just a SAG-AFTRA strike, a more general labor movement strike, where there are so many people across all industries standing in solidarity with the union to get what we're asking for, because this very much feels like a domino. Like if we negotiate and get what we want, the dominoes will drop for everyone else, because it'll be showing that it's possible that you can beat such conglomerates of such recognizable brand names.
We can, and we always can. Let's say that again.
Exactly.
Right? Because SAG-AFTRA is still here because we have won every strike we've ever done. So we will win it. And the general public not only is on our side, the labor movement is on our side, other countries are on our side. No one is on AMPTP's side except those sitting in those chairs. Truly, it's just a matter of time. And we have all the time. We're here.
Exactly.
We're not working, so we have time.
Now, I kind of want to talk about what I had mentioned this to you on the train on the way back, but there was a sit down with Bob Iger from Disney talking. I'm on CNN Business right now, and it just says, like, in an offsite meeting on Tuesday, Disney chief executives spoke to senior leaders of the company's television business. The meeting came days after Iger candidly made remarks to CNBC's David Farber. He said that linear business may not be core to the entertainment giant, meaning Disney. A comment that immediately sent shockwaves through the industry. And he says that it naturally set off alarm bells inside of Disney General Entertainment. And he has been experiencing high anxiety environment, left staff in the dark by not communicating directly. So I guess what they're trying to infer here is that because like Disney's linear business may not be core, quote unquote, to the entertainment giant, like, does that mean that he's dismantling things? We saw there was a headline about how he could potentially be selling Apple.
These are all targeted things that are being released to make us seem like we have less power and control over what's happening. Nobody buys it, baby boo. I'm sorry. You're Disney. Your literal thing is making film and television. That's literally what you do. You have theme parks, you have video games, but really your IPs stem from your television and your films, which is what Disney Plus is, my boo. So no one's buying it. I'm sorry. I think what it is I think it's being released, and a lot of reporters, unfortunately, are kind of put in a bad position where they're like interviewing these humans, and they're saying kind of really things that don't really make any sense whatsoever, and also are meant to scare us and the labor union and the general public into thinking that, wait, maybe we don't need all of this stuff. But literally Disney is a creative, it is a production. It literally is built on the backs of IPs, of characters, of voiceover things, of animation, truly. So, I mean, okay, weird. That's like somebody coming out from Nabisco and be like, I don't know, we're not really into cookies right now. Okay, but what are you?
No more cookies, guys.
What do you do? Like, what do you do then? So, like, I think Disney's a big company, and and honestly, I've loved Disney for years, but that's not who we're battling right now. We're battling Bob and the people sitting in the AMPT chair of Disney.
Yeah, and just to make note, I'm looking here at a little blurb that that Bob Iger specifically, his net worth is estimated to be around $350 million. His annual pay is $27 million per year.
Yeah.
So, and that is averaged to be, on average, it is 787 times more than the average salary of any Disney employee.
Cool.
So, like, that's insane that he's suggesting that, like, the things that artists are creating and the IP that people are creating for Disney just aren't their core business anymore.
This is not it for us. That's just not it
for us. Like, what?
I wonder, like, what is it though? My question is, did he say what it was?
No,
like,
he didn't, because and that's a very good point to make. It's like, without writers and animators and other creators, Disney would not exist at all.
Or actors or anyone literally performing the shit that people are. Yeah, it's just, to me, this is just such a great example of, like, that meant nothing. Whatever you just said, I have no idea what that even means. Like, literally, it's gobbledygook. It's to make people go, oh, Bob's means business, and he means that he doesn't need all this stuff. But what is Disney then? I don't know what you are then. If you don't do movies and TV and film, like, what are you doing? And I was just saying, movies and TV are the same thing. But you know what I mean? It's like all the same shit. Like, what do you mean you do? So I really don't know what he does. And also, the people that are at the theme parks are actors. The people that are the people that are, they call them cast mates. Even the people just sweeping the floors are cast members. You know why? Because it is a production. Literally, from the top down, it is a production. So I have no idea what the hell he means. I don't know if he's like did some ayahuasca and then he did that interview. Like, I don't know what he was doing when he did that, but yeah, he's silly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it's like you said, it's Nabisco saying that they don't
do cookies. Coca-Cola's like, we're not really in the drink biz.
We're not into sodas.
What do you do? Like, what do you do then? Like, it's so weird. I think he's trying to insinuate that, like, he wants to focus more probably on, like, ABC and, like, whatever, and maybe because they own everything, Marvel, blah blah. But that's still TV and film, honey. That's still TV. We are broadcasters also, hun. Like, if he's saying he doesn't want, if it's ABC that he's talking about, that they're gonna focus on that. Well, guess what? We're the union where all the guys are. Everybody's in there, all the broadcasters, men and women who broadcast every day under ABC. So I really just don't understand what he's talking about. I think it seems like a tactic to just distract us. And I'm sorry that he feels stressed out. That must be really hard for him, considering, he was shot yesterday. That's cool. I mean, I'm stressed out too. Welcome.
Right. I'm so stressed out on my second 190-foot yacht.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Therapist. He can't find a good one, apparently. So, or somebody to talk to him. I mean, it's like what Fran Drescher said. Why is he talking? Put him back in a room, Disney. Put him in a room because he's saying dumb stuff.
Well, and I think we've made this point before, but the people who are in AMPTP and who are the heads of these networks have never created anything.
No,
like, they're number pushers, they're data entry at this point. They're looking at charts and graphs and speculating what will work, what won't work, what growth strategy they have, like analytics, et cetera, which of course is important for business because you don't want to go under. But at the same time, like creating art in capitalism, as we've talked about before, is difficult. And so now we're looking at the growing pains of, and really, like, the crash course of creating mass media, mass art under strictly capitalism, and allowing the people at the top to kind of choke off the creatives and still demand the same amount of work from them.
Right. Right.
So
And
here we are.
so here we are, but also we've existed for 90 years and it's worked out. So I think that
Right.
it obviously can be done. I believe that we can in any market and anything. We are one of the biggest performers unions in the world, and we've been able to thrive in this country specifically. So we can continue to do that. The problem is they have to sit down and negotiate with us instead of stonewalling and not giving us literally anything. That's all we're asking. And I think that what's so crazy is this could have been avoided months ago. Like this could have been avoided over 6 weeks ago if they would have just sat down and actually heard us out, instead of saying really insane things like taking someone's likeness, their AI likeness for background, paying them for maybe a half day, literally a half day is what the text said, not even a full day, and then using that in perpetuity. I don't know anyone who thinks that's a nice thing to do, a good thing to do, or is it in any way is not stripping us of our autonomy. So I don't really understand. Also, it's like the uncanny valley of it all. Like, do we really want a background of people that really aren't there?
Yeah.
Yikes. And again, not to even sound old fashioned, if that's the way it's going, then you pay those people for using their likeness and their bodies. You know what? I love a video game, but I don't want every single movie to look like one.
No.
Stupid.
It's
I'm
weird.
trying to look up on Wikipedia what the Walt Disney company is, and it just seems to me like they make TV, film, and other productions, so it's just really hard for me to understand what he's talking about.
I'm looking for the breakdown. You might have easier access to this than I do, but I'm looking for the breakdown of what SAG was asking and the AMPTP's response.
Sure. I think I have it right here.
I've been seeing it on the socials, and I haven't been able. Here we go. I'm looking at this editing studio.
Yeah. So for inflation, we asked for 11% for just a wage increase, because that's literally what the math is. And they said 5% in year 1, 4% in year 2, and 3.5 in year 3. So it's just going to decline. And it's not even remotely half of what we asked for. So that's the only one that they like sort of played ball with. The new media revenue sharing, where cast in the revenue generated when their performances are exhibited on streaming would allow cast to share in the success of so if we are the main people in it, why not share some of that revenue in terms of like stocks and other things? They just rejected that. They didn't even try.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah,
sorry, it's saying that they were offering 5%.
Right. That's what I said. We're 5%.
Okay, sorry.
4% in year 2, 3.5 in year 3. Yeah. And we asked for 11. So cute. That's not it. That doesn't equal that.
Okay. I found a version of this. That's why I'm like,
yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's just a lot of things. Dancers, were completely screwed. I mean, they said dancers should receive an additional compensation when they're asked to sing, or lip sync in addition to dancing, on rehearsal and shoot days. This rehearsal and shoot. They countered with just a 25% rate, but for the performance days, not the rehearsals. Oh, good thing they stuck it to them there. Yeah. Again, like these are people doing a dual job, like they're performing, dancers. That's literally dancers performing. But if they want to add the singing component, you should pay them as a singer instead of just adding a little 25% only on performances, not rehearsals.
Yeah.
Dancers should be paid for the same for rehearsal days as they are for performance days. They tentatively agreed to the rehearsal days proposal, which is good. But then they rejected everything else for dancers, literally across the board, reject. So it's like, I don't know. It's just very hard to understand. A lot of these things aren't even that much. Like I'm seeing like an offer to $35 flat fee for background actors who have to spend their own time styling their hair and makeup. I mean, it's just like insane.
Yeah, I mean, and the list that I'm looking at too, I'm not sure where you're looking at yours, but the one that I found here, it was talking about other things that are just kind of like courtesy things that aren't difficult and wouldn't really cost much money at all.
Yeah.
Like this one, for example, is consultations with qualified hair and makeup professionals for all performers on set to ensure equity for performers of color, and requirements to have proper tools to execute doing their hair and makeup correctly. And they said that they would be willing to do this for principal, but background actors are on their own.
That's really insane because what do you want everyone in the background to just not look okay at all, to be shiny as hell and their hair to be just destroyed? Because like the problem is like literally all they're going to do is last looks anyway and some touch-ups. It really doesn't, I think they just want to cut down on paying. Really, this is hurting actually, like Iatse. This is hurting like the makeup artists, this one too, because what we're doing is we're bargaining not just for ourselves, we're making sure that everyone that's working with actors is getting a fair share as well. And one of the things that we passed at convention, it was 2 cycles ago, it was one of the ones that I voted up for sure, was that people who people of color who come to set, a lot of times the makeup artists have zero idea to do their hair, how to do their hair, which is insane, because your job as a makeup artist, you should be able to do black hair, you should be able to do any kind of textured hair. And so yeah, we just asked for literally people to help to do background like they already are doing, but now they're trying to get rid of that because they're trying to get rid of background, obviously, so they're trying to get rid of that as well, which is just wow, crazy.
This one actually really is kind of not, I guess, shocking to me, but I guess not surprising, I guess, in a way. But it was saying that they were they're asking that series regulars to stop pretending that series regulars are becoming residents of a new state or country when they go on location, and then adequately pay them for their relocation costs. And they basically were like, here's some stipends that can like realistically reflect the cost of relocating, maybe.
Yep. How in what world does someone appear on something that millions of people are watching, and let's say they live in New York but it's shooting in Nevada, and they have to pay themselves to get to stay in Nevada while they're working there?
That makes no sense.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's just kind of like what is really jumping out at me, and has been from the beginning, is that these are not difficult things that we're asking.
No.
Like even the shared revenue, like from streaming, like the residuals from streaming, that was what like 1%, 0.5%.
Yeah.
I don't, was it 1%?
Yes.
When you like pit that against the rest of their revenue and profit, it's like that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket, and it's not like it's coming out of their pocket anyway.
No. And
like,
it's not from their work. I mean, it's just like insane. It's like we're asking for a fair share of what we actually do.
Yeah.
It's like so insane. It's like as if I painted a painting and it was immaculate, and some dude just came over, grabbed it, and was like, cool, and then made like $500 off of my painting. And he's like, here's $1. Thank you for your work. And like that's what this is. Literally. Yeah. That's what this is, with the way that they're paid, and the way, and I love the cry for we need more money when you guys are giving yourselves money. And PTP, you're giving yourselves money. You're paying yourselves. That's like so corrupt.
Yeah, well, and it's also then, the lack of transparency of how much they're actually bringing in per streaming show, where they don't actually give you the metrics or the data of like how much like the Gilded Age is being streamed and how much revenue they get from that. And the only reason I chose Gilded Age is because we saw one of the actors from Gilded Age. It took me the whole day to figure out who it was.
Like, where's that person?
I was like, why do I know this face? It's like, oh right, Gilded. She runs the kitchen.
She runs the pitch. Yeah.
Oh my god! But also Douglas Hills come March, so I can look at you all day long. Anyway,
yeah. So it's bad. I mean, it's just like, I mean, there's stuff about our pension and health, like residuals helping with that. That's a no-brainer. That costs them that doesn't cost them really anything, and it's just going to our retirement so we can retire and be sort of okay. And they just were like rejected, like not even a thought. So yeah, I just want to reiterate that yes, we are SAG-AFTRA. Yes, every single famous actor that you see, for the most part, pretty much every single one, is a member of our union, correct? But they make up just a small percentage of the membership. We have 160,000 strong. And I don't even know what percent it is, but it's not much, can even make the 25,000 a year to afford the pension and health and the healthcare and all this other stuff. So I just think it's really, I think it's just really shameful. And I think the only thing I'm seeing in the media that seems to be negative towards us are people assuming that we're all rich.
Which just feels like a smear campaign. Like that. That's it's so dumb. Well, and there was also something that that came across my little news feed on the Instagrams too, that the media coverage that we're getting on across the board from a lot of the main media outlets like it's this guy Zach Bornstein, who I follow. He's kind of a snarky guy, but I appreciate his content.
Sure.
He says, struggling to figure out why the WGA / SAG-AFTRA strikes are getting negative news coverage on CNN, owned by Warner Brothers, MSNBC, owned by Universal, ABC, owned by Disney, CBS News, owned by Paramount, and Fox News, owned by Hitler.
Yeah, seriously, that's it. Yeah, owned by the devil.
Right, but it's disconcerting, especially with the AFTRA connection, that those news organizations, despite the fact, well, I guess in spite of the fact that they are owned by these giant studios, are not really giving real information, and that whole "we're all millionaires" story is coming through there.
Yep. So
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I want to say too. It's like, that is why it's so powerful that we have social media, that we have our voices here on this podcast, that we have the ability to show what's happening on the front lines like we were today. And I'll be continuing to do day in and day out until this is over. That's really important, that we're able to reach people immediately through social media. I think it's very important that anyone who's listening to this, that is watching any of those major news corporations, they're going to get a watered down version of what's happening, or a completely not correct version of what's happening. Just keep that in mind, because the pockets are lined. These stations, although some of them I do respect, are still run by these members of the AMPTP, or the CEOs or figureheads of these places. So,
and just to point out too, like, that you can get a watered down / incorrect version of this on social media too, which is why it's important that you pay attention to who you're listening to, and go straight to the source. Like always, SAGAFTRAstrike.org will have the most up-to-date, accurate information on this. Always. Like, you can listen to us, you can listen to Sarah, you can look on our social medias. We're being very active on there. And there are certainly other people who are in the know who are doing the same, but being careful and aware of who you're listening to.
And always start with SAG-AFTRA itself. Always start with SAG-AFTRA, at SAG-AFTRA on Instagram. They're everywhere. They have a huge following. And
they have they're great presence. They're very active on their social media, and that's one thing that I like about that union, is that they are very transparent and their communication is stellar, and they keep their membership body in the know.
Yep. Knowledge is power. And I mean, we literally are a country that's born on the backs of labor, and in so many ways. And if we lose the rights that we are deserved as the laborers, we've already lost. So this is what democracy is. This is what it should be. And I don't know, we will, united we stand, divided we fall. So the more stuff you hear that's like negative stuff, literally all any of us want is just to have a living wage, and come to the table to now negotiate. Please actually negotiate with us. That's all we're asking. Just do it.
And on top of that, just to kind of point back to the social media component of this as well, for anyone who would be joining a picket line, for anyone who does want to get involved in this conversation, being on social media and pointing to the fact that these news organizations or other outlets are not covering the right thing, or they're covering it inaccurately, or they're just putting smear campaigns out there. Use your voice on your social media platform, because that destabilizes the people at the top. There are more of us than there are of them. So like use what voice you have to destabilize it. And that's one thing that I really do love about social media. I know that we all have like different feelings about it, and I certainly have days where I fucking hate it, but like being able to have to democratize communication like that, where it's literally in the hands of every single person to have the ability to create a video to talk about their story, what's happening, what's going on in their lives. Like, to me, that is why I love social media. And to use it in the context of this SAG-AFTRA strike and the WGA strike, and just this labor movement in general, is going to be pivotal in being able to get what we want, because it is showing them that there are more of us than them, and that we aren't afraid to use our voices, and we will show up on picket lines.
Yes. And what I love too is high profile members are showing up, and they're speaking out against, what's happening. Even like, what was it? For Oppenheimer. I mean, everyone from top to bottom, director, actors, all of them are walking out of like red carpet events, or just talking about it. And that's what we need. We need that. We need that. We need that solidarity.
We do. And we saw videos of Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, who are on the lines out in LA.
Yep.
You know, to no one's surprise, Jane Fonda is just like the queen of protests. I fucking love her.
Yeah, I just love her so much. Yeah.
Oh, what a star. But I also would say, and I think this is kind of something to point out that's important. You and I talked last night, our friend sent us a video of someone who is very possibly and probably scabbing. They were invited to the Barbie premiere and posted about it and tagged Barbie and WB for inviting them and this, that, and the next thing. And so, like, you know, scabbing is super dangerous for the solidarity and the unification of a union. So if you see someone who's potentially doing that, make sure you understand the rules first, because we don't want to drag people who are doing the right thing. Again, there are contracts that you are allowed to work under within this parameter, like within these parameters. But you know, so don't go for anyone's throat just yet, but just keep an eye out for things that are specifically TV and film.
And this is a message to anyone who is supporting that as an actor. Like, if you are scabbing, if you are showing yourself at these events, supporting projects that are for these specific producers and corporations, you are scabbing, and you will make us, you will weaken the whole system, and no one will forget. That's for sure. So when we do win, which we will, because they're losing millions and millions of dollars every single day, and that's what they care about, is money. We got all day, baby. We got all day. We're creatives. We're artists. We're gonna last. We're not afraid.
We will figure it out.
We're not afraid to be broke, baby. But you guys are. That's literally your job, is to not have money. So you're losing it every single day. LA is shut down. New York is basically shut down. So there's really not a lot to say other than sit down with us and pay up.
You said that it was about 30 million a day.
Something like that. Yeah, that's the numbers we're hearing. I don't know. I don't want to be super exact about that, but I will say this: they're losing millions of dollars, losing every day. There's no question. They're not shooting anything in Los Angeles that's remotely scripted other than commercials. Same thing in New York. They're really not filming anything. So it's like, think about how much money is being lost on the daily.
Yeah.
And think how much money is being lost on our end from us working. We're losing money every day, but they're losing it for their companies, and that's literally their one job. So,
well, and I wonder, I think this is related, but you know, I think this is true, but I'm going to throw it out there knowing that I could be completely off base. But a lot of the revenue that they would be losing would be ad sales. And so therefore, arguably, the companies that are paying for those ad sales are losing revenue by not having their ads present on these platforms. So it's just this huge trickle down effect that is like, you know, it comes from the top down. And so, like, not only are the networks losing money, but so are these corporations, and so are, you know, the sub companies in which they function. And so it's just like this big mess where there's going to be a lot of pressure for them to act and negotiate and do the things. And it might feel hopeless to those of us who are the little tiny ants on the ground, but you know,
but these ants, we are the ones who are on the screen. You're not.
Exactly. Well, and like you said, we have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose, because we have everything to gain by doing this. We've been out of work before. We've had things where, you know, we're actors, I can only speak for actors because that's what I am. And, you know, we're used to auditioning and maybe not getting it, and just keep it moving and working on our craft and booking other things to carry us along and do it. This is not new. This is not new to us, but this is new to the MPTP, especially a lot of the members here that are brand new or just came back, like Bob, who just came back, and here he is. So,
it's giving supervillain.
It's giving villain. It's giving corporate greed. It's giving bullshit. I mean, it's also giving stupidity. I mean, literally, if you just would agree to treating us properly, like human beings, like fellow human beings, which I think they're human. So why are you acting like AI is what they are? Like, you're not robots, are you? Because I thought you were people. So we're also people, and we're the ones that are creative, and everything's built upon us. So, as Fran Drescher said, they keep saying in private to them, and we know all about negotiations now. We can say anything that they said privately, pretty much, that they kept saying, we were the center of the wheel. You guys are the center of the wheel. You're what we need to then blah, blah, blah. But then you treat us like we're not even in the wheel.
Right.
Be in the car.
Yeah.
How does this all happen without us? Good luck.
Well, I mean, and this is not specific to the television industry, but I had a job interview not too long ago for a pretty big organization, and one of the things that they kept referencing was the thing. I don't want to give this away too much. It was a sports team, essentially. And I was up for a position with them that would have been like a chief of staff adjacent. I was like on my second or third interview. And the person that I was speaking to kept saying, oh, when you see the product on the field. And I was like, you mean the players? You mean the people who are on the field? And kept referring to them as the product. And I was like, am I missing something? Are we making shampoo here? Like, what is...
These are human bodies.
And kept referring to the particular people on this particular field as the product. And it really bothered me. And it makes me feel as if though the people who are head of these studios feel the same way. We are the product. We're not the people. We're the product. And so then reminding them, it's been however long since the last strike where we had any kind of real negotiation. So reminding them that, like, hello, we are people down here and not a product. We create a product for you.
You're going to have no product if we're not involved. So you don't even have the product right now. You don't even have the product. I know you're saying, Disney boy, that you don't make Disney movies or films, but that's all you do, y'all.
It's literally all you do.
Disney, you don't have the product, babes. So you screwing up from day one. You're wrong. Day one. You're wrong. Yeah. So, I mean, really, that's the best thing. And I also want to say too, it's like, please remember that we are so supported. We're actually more supported. We have a stronger, this is another great thing. In the United States, union positivity has gone way up. We're almost to 80%, I believe, like 70 something. A lot of people are pro-union company. And I have a lot of people that historically might not have been pro-union. Some friends that are maybe conservative or whatever have been very pro what we're doing. So that's really nice to see. And it's also nice to see that regardless of wherever you stand, this isn't political. This is literally our lives. This is literally us fighting for the rights of human beings, individuals too, not just a collective. Our individual rights as our images. I only look like me. You're the only one who looks like you. We're protecting that. That's very important. So yeah, I think this is like so the right side of history. This is going to be one of those times where people are going to look back and be like, "Oof, yeah, I'm glad they did that, or we'd be in a mess." Thank God for that. But also, I think too, it's like we can do this, and we have so much support. There's really nothing really negative coming at us other than anything the AMPTP is putting out there, and just pure ignorance. And that's kind of it.
Well, and obviously, like that, what's coming out from them is calculated, and they're doing 100%. That for a reason. I do kind of want to comment on the not political part of it, not because I think that this isn't political. I do think it is.
Everything is political. What we do is a civil.
Of course. Yeah. And I'm comforted in knowing that the union support kind of feel vibe around the country is as high as it is. But to tie that into politics, like we need to start focusing on more politicians who are pro-union and vote for them. The reason why we're in the situation that we're in across a lot of these labor industries is because unions have been villainized and dismantled over the years through politicians who are anti-union, who are like they kind of fucked shit up for the last 50, 60, 70 years. Yeah. And so getting that kind of awakening with the labor force and showing them like, hey, this is why unions are good. And SAG-AFTRA gets to lead the way with the WGA to show this on a very, very public forum by saying unions are good. This is why. This is what we're fighting for. You can too.
Yep. And honestly, you guys would have 0 weekends without unions. There's so many things we wouldn't have. 40-day work week. There's certain things we wouldn't even have if we didn't have before unions. Those weren't even things. So child labor laws. I mean, we wouldn't have had those without unions.
Yeah, I think minimum wage too. Minimum wage weekends, 40-hour work week, child labor laws. That was all the New Deal.
Yep.
And I think I personally feel like Newsies should be required viewing.
Oh my God, Newsies is so good. Newsies should be required. It's really good. I mean, it's literally what's happening. That's what's so crazy is like
it's literally what's happening.
And the world will know because and the Journal too, because it's literally some people, and in the movie it's one guy, but it's other guys as well. Always these guys around the table, trying to just squeeze out an extra whatever from the people that are the ones that are the workers. And it's just happening again. This is literally what's happening. And it's inhuman. So we gonna get it. And also, Yeah, I wanted to say some notable figures, like the president of New York SAG-AFTRA, Ezra Knight, was there. He's my buddy boo too. Adore him. Rebecca Damon, our NED of New York, or not executive director of New York. Yeah, she is just so wonderful. She's been our president before. She's been our national vice president before. She was on the floor today. So everybody's here. Everybody's actually showing up and is here and engaged. So, you know, I don't see a lot of engagement other than just, you know, a blurb here and there from the other side. So,
yeah. And you know, I think we've covered a lot of this, and if we can, I would love to close on a Newsies lyric.
let's do it.
Let's do it. I've done this show every single night singing this backstage because, like, you know, we had to sing backstage because the Newsies are dancing their faces off and we were there to support the vocals of those guys dancing their faces off. But it was my favorite part. I cried almost every single night at this part, but I think it's so true for where we're at right now. And again, Newsies required viewing, whether you watch the musical version or the movie version. This is
Batman,
specific.
Christian Bale.
Exactly. This is specific to the musical version. But the line is, there's change coming once and for all. You're getting too old, too weak to keep holding on. A new world is gunning for you and Joe, one of the characters. We is too, till once and for all you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And like musically, that is an epic moment. And that is
Yeah.
kind of why we were all crying backstage. But
Yeah.
it's true. They're getting too weak and too old. And it's time for change.
Yep.
Get these
It's
people
time for
out.
change. Bye. Get out.
And
Come with us or get out.
and pay us.
Give me the dollar.
You're
So I know we said goodbye already, but as we were leaving, Sarah and I were perusing Instagram to debrief on what we just did, and we have some literal, actual breaking news here from the Hollywood Reporter.
Tell it to everyone, Ed. Read it.
I will. I have it pulled up right now. So the headline is Iatse, which is the stagehands and a lot of crew on TV, film, but also theater, have held a strike authorization vote for theater workers on the Pink contract, which is wardrobe personnel, hair, and makeup who work across 28 productions on Broadway and 17 tours.
Wow.
They have been in negotiations for years. My friend Kevin Thomas Garcia has been talking about this. My friend Jamie Sampson has been talking about this on social media a lot. They have not been under contract and have still been working for the last like year and a half, 2 years or something like that. I don't remember what the exact number is, but they are conducting a strike authorization vote right now after the theatrical crew union says talks with the Broadway League and Disney Theatrical Productions have stalled. Shocked to death on that one.
Shock. I mean, do you guys not do theater either down Disney, Bob? Tell us more.
Right. Like, is that not your core content profit lever?
So what that means is, for everyone who doesn't know what a strike authorization vote is, because we did this ourselves, basically strike authorization is asking the membership, if we were to get to the point where we will be considering striking and negotiations do not amount to anything or they break down, will we immediately then ask their board to go to strike, and then you can go immediately. So we use that on our own. We had a strike authorization vote where we got, I think it was 97% plus said yes of our memberships. So amazing, such a show of solidarity. I was sitting on the national when this happened. We asked the body, which I'm also a member, to vote yes. Of course I voted yes. And once it came back, then we took that card with us, aka that we could strike at any moment card, into negotiations. I think that's why we're able to even extend at some point. I think we were maybe getting somewhere, but walking in without that threat of like, we are going to strike if we do not find an agreement here, because this is hurting us, really is great incentive and great leverage. Now, if things break down, we will do it. And we've shown that we will. So I'm really excited to hear if these folks over there in Iatse at that contract, if they vote for a strike authorization. If they vote yes, then they can immediately probably go into a strike, considering that their contract is now void. So I'm wondering if they'll go back in negotiations, or maybe they'll actually come to the table again. But if an authorization doesn't mean they will strike, it means that the body accepts the fact that they will, so they can at the discretion of the leadership.
Yes, and this is basically saying exactly what you just said. The union needs to reach a threshold of 75% yes votes to move forward with the authorization.
We got 97, so I'm sure they can do it too.
Yeah. However, reaching that threshold does not necessarily mean a strike will be called, but rather that Iatse can call if needed.
Yep.
The other thing I wanted to correct myself on is the contract. The previous contract had been in effect from July 1st, 2019 through July 2nd, 2023, but the members have been working under the previous terms for as long as the talks were productive. The first negotiation session was held May 25th. The two parties met for a 19-hour bargaining session starting Monday evening. No additional sessions have been scheduled as of Wednesday morning. According to the union, some progress has been made, including tentative agreements on employer-provided healthcare, without making cuts to plans or increasing out-of-pocket costs, as well as gaining employer-provided housing for touring crews in a first for the pink contract workers. However, there are still sticking points around increased wages and settling weekly and daily rest periods. So I just wanted to correct myself on that timeline because that what I said was incorrect.
Great. Well, either way, I think this is just a show that there's a revolution afoot.
I mean, it very much feels that way. Like we're just one by one, we're just like pulling the strings out, you know, like WGA, now us, now them, you know, what's next, you know, like this actually really excites me.
No, it's exciting. It's actually really, it's a gorgeous show of solidarity and humanity and, and sticking up for your peeps. And I'm so glad we're doing that. And I think this is a revolution. I think this year will go down in history for being the year that so many people, laborers, people, just people who are working, stood up for their rights. And this is going to be a big wave of change, just like the 60s were. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, and as the great Fran Drescher said, eventually they broke down the doors of Versailles, and then it's over.
And then it's over. Over. God, I love her.
Oh my God, me too. All right.
Furniture on the Titanic.
Just an icon.
How dare she?
Okay, now we're actually leaving now. God, I hope we don't find any more breaking news, but also I hope we do. Like,
John Iger just told us he's a silly goose and everything's fine.
Right. Ooh, silly goose.
Bob Iger, whatever his stupid name is. I forget his name because it's just a guy. Whatever.
Whatever, dude. Pay us.
Pay us the bag. Put the money on the table.
You're so rich.
Pay me.